Bob's Big Beer Show continues, now with plenty of hoppy beer talk.
Welcome back, Bob's Big Beer Show. Vic McCarty here. Kristen St. Peter has stepped out of the studio for a moment. Weather-wise, just one thing to mention to you. It looks like tomorrow we could be getting up to 8 more inches of snow. Today looks pretty mild, but tomorrow, Sunday, could see a fair amount of snow. Earlier this week, we had a chance to talk to Jason Buehler from the Denver Beer Company. He was in northern Michigan, Traverse City specifically, Right Brain Brewery, in a collaboration with Russell Springsteen on a peanut butter bacon beer. And so earlier this week, we had a chance to catch up with him and find out a few things about him, the Denver Beer Company, and what this collaboration thing's all about.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm pretty darn good for this wintry day. Winter took a while to get here, but it's here, and we're loving it. Now, you are at Right Brain. You are the head brewer at the Denver Beer Company. How's your winter treated you guys out there?
It hasn't been too bad. I think we're going to get a pretty fair amount of snow this year. It's been a little colder than normal for us, but, I live just outside of Boulder, and I think we've got maybe 10 or 12 inches of snow on the ground right now. But, normally it goes away quick for us because we have so much sunshine, but it hasn't been the case because it's been so cold by us.
Where did you go to? Let's get a few things out of the way because this is really going to dictate how much I talk to you. Where did you go to college?
I went to college at Miami of Ohio, and I'm a proud Buckeyes fan.
Whoa, Jason. Whoa. What? Hold the phone for a second. What did you just say? Did you say Buckeye on this show?
You heard it correct.
Oh, boy, that's it. I'm coming down there right now, mister. Wow, that's right.
I didn't bleep that out. I'm sorry.
Wow, no swearing, Jason. We don't talk like that on this show. Wow, Miami of Ohio. How come you went to Miami?
I grew up in Ohio, and it was a good school, and it was a good time. A little bit of a party school down there.
A little bit, yes.
Yeah, I had a little bit.
All right, so now, but you live in Denver or outside of Boulder. Are you a Broncos fan?
Right. Not really, I'm more of a Browns fan, which is, it's a pretty sad existence.
Wow, how's that treating you? Yikes.
It's been pretty dismal, to be honest with you, but luckily I have plenty of beer around.
Yeah, let me, it's funny you should bring that up because the LA Rams the St. Louis Rams are going to be the LA Rams again. When they left LA, because I'm from Southern California, I had nobody. And I was looking for a team to kind of bond with, and I picked the Cleveland Browns. And you know what they immediately did?
Oh, man, poor choice.
Well, they moved to Baltimore. You know what they did? I picked Cleveland, and then they moved to Baltimore. Right. So I was like, man, I'm not having a good time with this at all. So now I'm a Packer fan. So
right.
If you want to be a Packer, a Packer fan
with
me. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
All right, so you're the head brewer at the Denver Beer Company, correct?
That's correct.
Give my listeners a little bit of a overview of your resume. When did you start brewing? Were you a home brewer?
Sure. Well, actually, my dad's a home brewer and was when I was a kid, and so I started home brewing when I was younger, and then I had a short career in sales and decided I wanted to become a professional brewer. So in 2007, I told my wife that I wanted to quit my job and go to brewing school, and she didn't leave me. So that's what I did.
How did that conversation go? Honey, I'd like to quit my job and go to brewing school.
Right. I think she had to sit down for a minute, and but it all worked out well, and went to brewing school and went on to work at a couple of brew pubs in Colorado, and then I spent 3 years at Oscar Blues Brewery up in Longmont.
Yeah.
And then just last May left Oscar Blues to join Denver Beer Company, which is co-owned by one of my colleagues and one of my classmates at brewing school at the Siebel Institute in Chicago. Back in 2007?
Where did you go to brew school?
Yeah, I went to the Siebel Institute in Chicago, which is the country's oldest brewing school. But yeah, I took a short associate's course there in 2007, and ended up joining the industry right after.
Very nice. Jason Buehler on the phone with us, Denver Beer Company, head brewer there. How long have you been the head brewer?
I've just been the head brewer since April, so I came on board in April of 2015, and it's been a fun ride. We started out in 2011, have a nice tap room at 17th and Platt, right in downtown Denver, and then just about a year and a half ago, we opened a production brewery just outside of our tap room there, just a mile and a half north of there. And we can our beer in 12-ounce cans and distribute throughout the state of Colorado right now. And we also do some specialty beers in bombers on a limited basis. But yeah, it's been a fun, wild ride.
Now, you mentioned your dad was a home brewer. Just how young are you?
I'm 38.
Oh,
so,
wow! Your dad, wow.
Yeah, so, I grew up in a small town, and at the time there wasn't a whole lot of good beer around there, so he just kind of decided to make his own.
All right, I want to ask you another question, and it's very important how you answer this, Jason. You've done rather poorly so far. Who is the greatest home brewer of all time?
Oh, man, the greatest home brewer of all time. That's a tough question. In my life, it's got to be my dad because he inspired me. But I'll tell you, my sister's getting pretty good herself.
Really?
And today is her 40th birthday. So cheers to my big sister in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were breaking up there a little bit, Jason. Sorry. We're going to have to let you go now. Great talking to you. Your sister's a brewer.
She is, yeah. She just picked it up a couple of years ago, and she's getting pretty good.
Well, not bad for a Buckeye. Do you have to, when you talk to her, do you have to speak slower and use kind of small words? That was terrible. I apologize. I was awful, and I'm just not a very nice person. All right, let's talk a little bit about the beer culture in Colorado. There are a lot of things going on out there. First of all, how would you describe the current atmosphere for craft brewing in Colorado?
It's pretty much like it is throughout the country. It's a really quickly, growing industry for sure. There's a lot of great beer being made, and it's getting more competitive, and it's getting better and better. And to me, the biggest thing is just the continuing education of consumers. It's been awesome, to see since I've started brewing, how much people have embraced craft beer, and how much great breweries like Right Brain are making super creative beers. It's been awesome. It's just been a lot of fun to be a part of.
I think it's interesting with the craft beer fraternity of drinkers, because you'll get people like me who have pretty high standards. I like my beer cold and wet and a little hoppy. But there are those out there who really know everything there is to know about beer and get a little snobby. You know what I'm saying? They're like, well,
absolutely.
You must, I think brewers probably get challenged a lot. Like, oh, you're a brewer. Well, let me show you how much I know about craft beer. Do you get that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We get that. I mean, I see that everywhere. Our attitude at Denver Beer Company is we just try to keep things fun. We're not super serious about our beer.
Yeah.
We just like to make beer that we like to drink, and beer that we think is fun and that people enjoy, and we don't take ourselves too seriously.
Are you a beer snob? Are you a beer geek? What are you?
If you ask my wife, she'd probably say both.
Okay.
Again, I'm definitely serious about beer, but I try not to take myself too seriously. And we try to have fun with it.
And the reason I ask it, and I talk to a lot of brewers on the show, and I always say, well, okay, you get done with a long day of work at Denver Beer Company and you want to go kick back and have a beer somewhere else. Can you sit down and just enjoy someone else's beer without like going, oh, wait a minute, what'd they do here? Oh, this isn't what I would have done. I mean, can you just go and relax?
Oh yeah, I can, and it's interesting too, in Colorado we've got, a lot of small breweries, and some of these breweries open up, and it takes time to really, get your quality up and to learn your brew system. So, there's definitely some of that, but at the end of the day, I really enjoy a lot of different types of beer, and I don't get upset if it's not perfect. I try to pick out and find the best that I can at every brewery I go to. So I definitely enjoy it.
I was at Right Brain this week, and they are on the Nitro thing over there. And has the Nitro? You guys have Nitro on tap there, and what do you think about that movement?
I was at Oscar Blues during the Nitro Chub kind of movement there, and personally, I'm not a huge fan of Nitro beers. I did have a CEO Stout on Nitro at Right Brain last night, and it was fantastic. Yeah. But it's not something that Denver Beer Company has gotten into. Okay. We kind of just prefer our beer, standard carbonated, and so that's kind of what we do. But I will say, it's enjoyable on occasion to have a Nitro beer, and from a technical standpoint, it's much more difficult to produce. And some breweries do it right, and the CEO Stout that I had last night was fantastic. Yeah, the CEO Stout, and that was one of my favorite beers back in the day. I've gone more IPA. And I want to get your thought on this because a good friend of mine, now granted, he's a Michigan State graduate, so take that into account because they're a little squirrely anyway. Right. But posted a piece that talked about how hops has ruined beer because there are people who really like bitter beer. What do you think of that? Well, I embrace the hop and I love it. We have an IPA called the Incredible Pedal. And it's a fantastic IPA. It's nice and dry, which is what we like it to finish dry, but it's got super, super hoppy, fruity nose and flavor. And got a red rye IPA that we just came out with called Summit Sunrise. It's our winter seasonal beer. And I really do embrace the hops. But I will say, personally, I prefer a lower bitter IPA. From a technical standpoint, my beer is generally a little lower in bitterness than what, most breweries in the United States, I think, are producing right now. Yeah. But that's just how I prefer it. And so I produce beers that have a lot of hop flavor and a lot of hop aroma, but aren't super, super bitter. Jason Buehler on the phone with us, Denver Beer Company. Push comes to shove, Jason Buehler grabs what type of beer? Ooh, this is an odd one, but I am a black IPA fan. Oh, okay. Most people, don't want to go there. It's not a huge, a beer style that's real well known, but I had a short run as a fad a few years ago, but they're still around, and I was actually able to make a beer called King Ink that's a black IPA that we entered in the Great American Beer Festival last year and pulled a bronze medal for it. So it's definitely a style that I like to drink. That's my go-to. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, sir. You as well. Thank you very much. You guys stay warm here. Yeah, we're going to try. Thank you very much. Enjoy your time in Traverse. All right, we'll do. Take care.
You're listening to the only local over-the-air beer show in the Traverse City region. It's Bob's Big Beer Show on 104.5 Bob FM.